What's up, ladies and gents? I hope you're all having a good day today. We do have a good day today. It's Friday 13th. Bad luck day today. Friday 13th, not good. So obviously a lot to talk about today. I wanted to talk about, the inghams, and yes, I know I do a lot of videos on them, but sometimes you have to talk about them, as they are incredibly problematic. Now, I've been watching the Inghams vlogs lately, and I think there's one thing that there's a fear that has certainly begun to grow for me, and I think a lot of people fear this. Have started to fear this, and this is the possibility, the possibility of something bad, happening to the kids. It feels like, as I've said in previous videos, it does feel like it's only a matter of time before, something bad does ultimately happen. The Inghams are basically running purely on pot luck at this point. And their luck might not have run out just yet, but I do think it is going to run out at some point. And when their luck runs out, it will be the kids that end up paying the consequences. It's only a pure miracle that those kids haven't already been seriously injured or far worse. It really does infuriate me and really does kind of trigger me a lot when I think about the amount of times that the Inghams have endangered their kids and put their kids' safety at risk, put their kids' lives in danger. And they've shown that for the world to see. There's so much proof of child endangerment on their channel. And it makes me laugh that people are defending them when they're so blatantly endangering their kids. Like the other night, like the vlog from the other night on, I think it was Wednesday, not the night, like the vlog on Tuesday night, they uploaded on Tuesday night. When they had Mila and Jace on the paddleboard on their own in deep water with no life jackets on. They're only 3 and 5 years old. They're probably not the strongest of swimmers, so why were they not wearing proper life jackets? Even the older 3 should probably be wearing life jackets, as a safety precaution, because even the strongest of swimmers can still drown. They might, they think, oh, because they're such a strong swimmer, they won't drown. But being a strong swimmer doesn't always automatically mean you won't drown. Because even the strongest of swimmers can and will get hauled out, from time to time. We've seen that many times, where the strongest of swimmers, are being hauled out, and one day that will happen to them. The problem with Chris and Sarah is they have this attitude of nothing bad will ever happen to them. And they shouldn't really be thinking like that. It's not really a sensible thing to be thinking about. That's not a sensible way to think. Oh, something bad ain't gonna happen to any of us. I wouldn't say that as such. I think at this point, they're begging for something bad to happen, and it does scare me to think about that, but about the possibility of something bad happening. It's not something that obviously I want to think about, but it's something that you can't help but think about. Like, you can't help but think something bad is going to happen because it feels like something bad is going to happen. And the problem is, the reason I hate Chris and Sarah so much is that it feels like they're intentionally endangering their kids. They're intentionally putting their kids' safety at risk. It feels like they're doing that deliberately, purely because they want something bad to happen. Because the saddest thing about it is that if something bad did happen, it would make for really, they would see it as great vlog content. Simple as that. I am not trying to be all doom and gloom, and I'm not trying to scaremonger anyone, or, you know, make things sound worse than what they are, or exaggerate things. I'm saying things for what they are. And I think, I know I'm not the only one that sees something bad happening sooner rather than later. I mean, anybody with an ounce of common sense knows that's a possibility with them. With the inghams, it feels like there's always that possibility that something could definitely go wrong. And that their actions could one day have very tragic consequences. But we all know that, if something bad does happen one day, it won't be Chris and Sarah that face the consequences, it'll be the kids. It will be the kids that end up paying the price for Chris and Sarah's absolute stupidity. Why would they, like whenever, when the other night when Chris was teaching Chase how to light the fire, not really something that you should be allowing a 5-year-old to do, letting them start the fire and everything like that. Not a sensible thing to do. I think that, looking at that vlog the other night, I think anybody with an ounce of common sense would have been questioning why Jason and Mila were not wearing proper life jackets, and probably would have even been questioning why the fuck they were on a paddleboard in deep water on their own, and they're only 3 and 5 when Jason's only 5, and Mila is only 3. It's like they're asked, when they do things, when Sarah and Chris do things like that, it's like they're asking for trouble. And they start getting pissed off at people and moaning them about life jackets. Well, if you had your kids wearing them, I think people wouldn't give them so much grief. Seriously, I have to say it. I mean, if they had their kids wearing life jackets when they should actually be wearing them, people wouldn't be giving them so much grief over that. People wouldn't even having a go at them over the fact that kids weren't wearing life jackets. And they'll probably give the excuse of, well, Esme and Isla don't need to be wearing life jackets because they're strong swimmers. Just because they're strong swimmers doesn't mean they won't get into difficulties. Regardless of how strong a swimmer they actually are, they should be wearing life jackets. Simple as that. If I was a parent, I would not allow my child to go, even if they were a strong swimmer, I still wouldn't let them go into the water without a proper life jacket on. And I think that's what any normal parent would be like, is they wouldn't let their child go into the water without a proper life jacket on, just for, safety reasons. I mean, at a leisure centre, yeah, you don't need to be wearing life jackets at a leisure centre because there's people there that, obviously are trained to rescue you and to, but when it comes to, things like lakes and things like that, they should be wearing life jackets. Now, the problem with lakes and things like that is that there's never anybody there who, is properly trained to, there's no one there who's actually properly trained to actually, save people and things like that. But these were a swimming pool at a leisure centre there is, I mean, I honestly, this is not something that I've suddenly become scared about recently. It's something that I've been scared about for a while. Because it's something that really feels like it's going to happen, like it could happen at some point. Obviously I don't want to think it would happen, but, it probably is realistically only a matter of time now before, something goes very, 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 very scarily, very, very, very badly wrong. And the thought of that really does scare me. Like, it really does scare me to think that something could go wrong. It scares me to think that something bad will happen, but I can't help thinking, that. And I think there's a lot of people who can't help thinking that as well. That this is just a thing. This is why, this is one thing that I am kind of relieved about in a way, is that I know I'm not the only one who fears that something bad is going to happen or will end up happening. It just feels like a very definite possibility that something bad is going to end up happening. And I don't know what that something bad is, but mark my words, something bad will happen. Something will go wrong. They keep taking, I'm not saying they shouldn't live their life to the fullest, but they keep taking too many risks. And one day they will take a risk, and that will backfire on them in the worst possible way. It will backfire on them in a pretty huge way, to be honest. No parent should ever be gambling with their kids' safety. And that is what Chris and Sarah are doing time and time again, is they are gambling with their kids' safety. They're gambling with something that they shouldn't be gambling with. Admittedly, I have phoned social services. I have reported them to social services in the past. I've called social services in the past. And I've actually told social services in the past that I fear that something bad will end up happening, and I fear it's only a matter of time before it does. If social services ever wanted proof of how Chris and Sarah have been endangering their kids, they will only need to look at their channel and see the amount of times they've endangered their kids. And this is why it makes me laugh. The fact that, so much about the fact that I found defending them, Chris and Sarah, are such great parents. Because if they were such great parents, they wouldn't be constantly endangering their kids' lives, and they wouldn't keep putting their kids' safety at risk. And the worst thing about it is it's purely intentional. They are intentionally putting their kids' safety at risk and putting their kids' lives in danger because they want something bad to happen. They want something to go wrong. They are practically begging for something to go wrong at this point. They're practically begging for something awful to happen. And I wish that, and to be honest, I kind of wish it would happen, because then they might learn a valuable lesson. I've never in my life seen two people who have such poor attitudes to child safety, to not just water safety, but child safety in general. I talk about this Honey Jolies, and their attitudes to child safety are pretty bad enough, but I feel like Chris and Sarah's attitudes to child safety are a hell of a lot worse. They don't care about child safety, and that much is blatantly obvious. It's like, why would they care about that? They never have cared about that, and they never will care about that. They'll continue to endanger their kids, and they keep getting away with it time and time again. This is the truth here. This is what is really fucking pissing me off. Is the fact that they keep getting away with fucking endangering their kids' lives and fucking putting their kids' safety at risk. Like, they shouldn't keep fucking getting away with that. As I said, it's only a pure fucking miracle that nothing bad has happened, that those kids haven't even been there, haven't ended up either seriously injured or fucking dead. It's a miracle they haven't been seriously injured or killed at this point by their parents' stupidity. But the truth of the matter is, Chris and Sarah are not going to keep getting so damn fucking lucky. Their luck is bound to run out at some point, and it is going to run out sooner rather than later. I dread to think. I sit here now and I'm thinking about it, and I dread to be honest, I dread to think what would happen or what would go wrong. Something feels like it's bound to go terribly wrong at some point. That with them, that feels like an inevitability, and the reason that feels like an inevitability is because they're getting so desperate for views. As their desperation gets worse and worse, the chances of something bad happening are ultimately increasing, and they're getting higher and higher and higher. And, I just don't know what else to say, because it just doesn't feel like there really is anything positive for me to say about this. I wish I could be positive about this. I wish I could be, I wish I could be less negative about this, but I just don't feel like having less negative about it, because it's just horrendous. It's just ridiculous what they're doing. It's ridiculous the things they keep getting away with. As people keep supporting them, regardless of the fact they're basically constantly blatantly endangering their kids. Wow, yeah, that's really good. That's a really good thing to do. Defend two people who are constantly endangering their kids' lives, and constantly putting their kids' safety at risk. How the fuck can anybody defend two people who are two fucking moronic idiots who are constantly gambling with their kids' lives and their kids' safety? That is actually beyond me. I don't understand that. I don't understand how some people can't see the fact that Chris and Sarah are blatantly endangering their kids and putting their kids' lives in danger, putting their kids' safety at risk. Basically all the time. And they think, nothing bad will happen, but it will happen one day. And they're begging for something bad to happen. They're asking for that. All I can say with this is that Chris and Sarah are really, really pushing their fucking luck. That is what they are doing at the moment. They are really, 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 really pushing their fucking luck. And, one day, it's gonna run out. One day something bad will happen. And I can guarantee you that it's only a matter of time before it does. Mark my words. Something bad will happen, something awful will happen sooner rather than later. Because Chris and Sarah are so fucking stupid. If their brains were dynamite, they wouldn't blow their fucking hats off. Why am I expected to defend people like them? Why am I expected to stick up for two fucking clowns who are constantly putting their kids' safety at risk and constantly endangering their kids' lives? Why should I stick up for two people that are gambling with their kids' lives on a regular basis? And are gambling with their kids' safety on a regular basis? Why should I defend two people who are taking so many risks that they as parents should not be taking? I'm not going to defend them over that. I'm not going to sit there and say that they're decent people when they're basically constantly endangering their kids' lives and constantly putting their kids' safety at risk. And they're actually showing how little they actually care about child safety. That's what they're showing here. They're basically showing people just how little they really care about child safety in general. I've never seen two people who, never before seen two people who care so little about child safety. But you can really see that, you can really see, like in a lot of their vlogs, you can really see just how little they actually care about child safety. And, I mean, obviously it doesn't bear thinking about, you know, the prospect of something going wrong just doesn't bear thinking about, and I don't know what else to say. You know, I really don't know what else to say. I wish there was something more, I could say something more positive, but I really don't know what else to say. To be honest with you, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say at this point, apart from the fact that I am actually lost for words. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. This was just me having a rant. Just wanted to give my thoughts on things, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you for another one soon. Bye bye.